Hey guys, if you're checking out this video, I just want to give a couple shout outs to people who made this possible. I want to give a shout out to some, Denzelbin, Drell33, U-Vertigo, Biggs85, Milo Pie, Gucci for Life. Let's go to the next page. God's Legacies, Anxious, Condorium. I always butcher that name. I'll just call him Condor. That's what I call him inside Twitch chat. Turkleton, Picosta, Echoman, a couple of those people, individuals there, donated once or twice, or just basically just have been contributing towards this guide and helping me out. So as always, thank you guys so much. This guide goes out to you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoy. Am I on? I'm on? Yes, I think I am on. Hey guys, Debo here, bringing you the last part in a 3-part series for the 24-hour Witch Doctor. Worked on it through the whole month of December. Mostly, if you guys are wondering why I formulated it or started to do this guide, it's in video number 1. If you haven't seen phase 1 video or phase 2 video, then I would highly advise for you guys to go check that out now. Make sure that later on I'll link the other 2 videos in the annotation somewhere inside this area, above me or right to me or whatever, what have you not. But anyways, we covered the first phase, which was the leveling phase, which is getting your character to level 70 in the most efficient manner, so you can set yourself up for phase 2. Phase 2 being the gear progression phase, where we take ourselves from basically from nothing, acquiring a couple things and getting ourselves to Torment level 3, and then this is basically the final phase. I don't think this video is going to run longer than 15 minutes. This just kind of wraps up everything and lets people know like what to be focusing on once you are at that Torment level 3 phase. You pretty much finish everything in phase 2. You have most of the gear, what thing you should be focusing on. So basically, we're just going to go ahead and just jump into it. First thing I want to talk about is basically just says the final phase is mostly coming in terms of build a lockdown, focusing on specific builds at the end of the 24 hours in game time, because like I said, the whole goal is to get a Witch Doctor that can do Torment level 5 or Torment level 6 within 24 hours of in-game time. Basically, you know, saying that you can get it to the point where you're doing T5, T6 easily and get into those in-game greater rifts. If you finish correct the steps in phase 1 and phase 2, by the time you hit the grinding phase, you should have at least about anywhere between 10 to 12 hours if you did the first couple phases correctly and you were officially maximizing your time. At this point, you should have a build that you already selected that you're going to be planning out, whether it be like a Renho Flailer build or a Grim Reaper, or if you're using Quetzalcoatl with the 2-handed Locust Swarm Haunt build. You know, you should kind of have a basic idea of what you're going towards, and then at this point, all we're going to do is just simply min-max out our character and get the final things like fixed, make sure we have the highest level gems, make sure we have good levels on our legendary gems. So let's go and get first to it. The first thing we're going to talk about is min-maxing. Some people might wonder what min-maxing is. I put the official definitions inside the guide, which I'll have linked and posted on Reddit today and Diablo fans. But mostly what min-maxing is just basically taking the stats that you would want on an item and not taking any other stats that you would not want or consider desirable, like getting the best possible itemization on a piece of gear. Let me give you a good example. Crusaders like to get a lot of cooldown reduction, right? Or actually, I don't know if I could speak on Crusaders. I don't want to say something inaccurate. Let's just say something, let's just say easy, let's say for Witch Doctors. Witch Doctors, if you're going, let's say, a Jade build, the best itemization for a Jade build, or min-maxing, if you will, on a shoulder piece would be Intelligence, Vitality, cooldown reduction, and also increased haunt damage. We want increased haunt damage because it increases damage of haunt for the Jade build, which is really good. We want cooldown reduction because we want to decrease our cooldown of Soul Harvest, which allows us to do more harvests, which means more DPS. We need Vitality for survivability, and we need Int. That would be min-maxing in a sense that we're getting all the stats that we would want on a specific piece of gear. Now, sometimes that's really easy to accomplish. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you might get a Jade piece where it's like Int, Vitality, reduce resource costs, and like increase zombie dog damage. Well, you're gonna have to, it's not gonna be optimal. You're probably gonna re-roll the zombie dog damage to haunt or cooldown reduction, but it's still not min-max. And that's what we're really focusing on the last phase, just closing everything out, making sure we have the good rolls and everything that we want on pieces of gear and what have you not. And it does make a big difference. A lot of people ask, well, does min-maxing make a difference? It makes a huge difference. I have a little example here. If you had 6 pieces of gear and their stat cap is 500 int, which means that the stats can go higher than 500 int, with those 6 pieces, you'll say you average 440 int per piece. It would bring you up to 2,640 int count. If you were able to bring the average up even just another 20 points of int per piece of gear, like if you had an average int count of 460 per piece of gear, your no int count would be 2,760, an improvement of 120 int through 6 pieces of items. The thing that gets even a little bit nuttier if you keep increasing those values, like I said, we're starting at 440 int per piece of gear. That's 2,640 int. If we had a 490 int average per piece of gear over 6 pieces, it'd be 2,940 int points. That's a 300 int difference from the 440 average that we started with, because a lot of people might see their gear and be like, oh, well, I got 440 ints, not a big deal. You know, that's pretty dang good. And you know, my vitality is maybe like 460. When you start adding up the different pieces and then you notice in your gear you have 13 different gear slots, could you imagine if every single gear slot was like off a little bit of being min-max? If you actually add all those different stats that you're missing that you potentially could have, you notice a tremendous difference inside your character. So I guess the whole point it is just the min-maxing is always very important. You might wonder why, you know, this guy can clear a certain grade of riff or do things that you can. Look at his gear. Compare yourself to see what they have. Maybe you have a chest piece that has 470 int and maybe only 420 vitality and triple sockets. And then, you know, you do that on a couple pieces and you wonder why your toughness is so low. It might be because of that. It could be just basically, why is he just taking so much less mitigation than me? Okay, let me look at my primaries. Well, my stats are pretty much the same as his. Oh, wait a minute, let me check the secondary. Oh, on his secondary arm pieces of armor, he got reduced damage from range. Oh, okay. And little things like that do pretty much matter, because first, the way gearing goes is you want the item just to drop. And then after the item drops, then you want a version of it that's just a little bit better, that has solid stats. And then you want to min-max until it has all the specific stats that you want. And then you want the next level is you want the item, you want all the specific stats you want, but also on top of that, you want high values. So instead of just being like, oh, okay, I got int vitality, I got cooldown reduction, I got increased haunt damage, that's great. Okay, well, now I want the same thing, but now I want the stats to be higher. I want that cooldown reduction to be a full 8%. I want that increased haunt damage to be 14%. I want my int to be 490 instead of 450. I want my vit to be 460. All that, you know, stuff makes a big difference. And even after you min-max to the max, you still got to worry about your secondary rolls. Can I get reduced damage from range? Can I get reduced damage from melee? What extra can I get? Can I get extra resistance to all resistance? So min-maxing is very important. We're doing it in a manner that the third phase is just basically to get some solid rolls and just make sure you have the right itemization on each piece of gear. And then after that, you can eventually just keep diving deeper and deeper into it and just making the perfect sets of gear, because if every slot is perfect on your character, 13 different slots, it makes a tremendous difference. So, like I said, just make sure that you start getting used to, at least in the third phase of min-maxing stuff. Maybe you can't have enough craftables to craft, you know, like maybe a 490 int, 490 vitality, perfect armor, max damage to zombie dog shoulder from Ogdal set, but maybe you can make one that has, you know, reasonable stats, int, vitality, armor, and increased damage to zombie dogs, and maybe the int's only 430, maybe the vit's only 450, but that's rounding it off really well. You really shouldn't have any pieces of gear in the third phase that have things like int, vit, resource cost reduction, and then like increased damage to zombie wall. You don't want to have pieces of gear like that. So you can min-max on different scales of level, but you should be starting minimum min-maxing, making sure you get the right itemization on your gear, and that's what I basically mean, because that's a very important step to making sure that you can get yourself into T5 and T6 at the end of 24 hours. The next part I want to talk about is getting into a routine. What getting into a routine is just basically staying in an efficient manner of being productive inside of game, focusing on what you want to do and get it done. Whether if you're hunting for Hellfire Amulets by hunting for the Key Wardens, maybe you're just running a lot of bounties to get a Ring of Royal Grandeur, or maybe you're just running regular rifts or even greater rifts to get certain rankings or whatever like that. You just want to get into a routine. An example of the routine I use when I'm in the grinding phase after I got all my stuff from phase 2 done. I like to farm regular rifts. I usually do it on tournament level 3 or whatever I can afford to do at the highest I can do it. The reason why I want to do the regular rifts, because regular rifts, and the most important thing is why we wanted to start get the tournament levels, because in regular rifts, depending on what tournament level it is a certain percentage drop for the Greater Rift tokens. The Greater Rift tokens is where you go to get your legendary gems and also upgrade them, which is the end game, and it also uses the rankings, how well you do in there, to rank you against other players. So like I said, that's why it made so much sense in Phase 2, what we had to focus on getting Tournament Level 1 and Level 3. Tournament 1 gets us access to giving the potential to get a Greater Rift token, while Tournament Level 3 just basically increases that chance of getting the token on a regular basis, so we can use it for our gems. So yeah, I farm on regular rifts, then I farm greater rifts when a greater keystone drops. So basically, let's say I'm farming, I run 10 runs on regular rifts, and then finally I get a greater rift shard. Do I wait? Do I hoard it? No, I use it right away. I'm gonna go in there, do my trials, and then as you know, I'm starting off, I'm just gonna proceed through the levels, get my legendary gems, and when I get to my max level where I cap out at, I'm just gonna cap out and then go back to doing regular rifts until I get another greater rift shard, and just keep rinse, wash, repeating that over and over again. And then making sure I upgrade my gems after each time I complete, or at the point in which I can't climb any higher. So let's say I got Greater Rift and I cap it at 15. So at level 15, I finish it, get my loot, get my gems, whatever. And then at the end, I am going to upgrade my gems. And you get granted 3 attempts to upgrade your gems. So I would upgrade each gem by 1 level, and then I will go back to regular rifts. And whenever I got another Greater Rift token, I come back. And then in between that, spinning blood shards and Pacific gear slots to improve your build or min-max certain items. Again, let's just say I got real lucky, like in my last test session, I got 6 pieces of jade. So what I actually started to do was when I got the shoulders, and I was like, okay, and I got the pants, I got the boots, I got gloves, and I'm sitting there looking at it like I got 5 pieces or about 4 pieces of jade. I get 1 piece. The thing you don't know about jade, even if you don't have the Quetzalcoatl helmet, you could still, with 6 pieces of jade, do T6 very easily. If you have the right rolls and stuff. So eventually I was like, well, I'm pretty close. I'm like 2 pieces off from jade. So I said, okay, what do I need? I need the chest and I need the pants. And I start gambling and using my blood shards to target a specific item that I was looking for in the final phases of this 24-hour witch doctor. I was able to get my pants and also my chest, completing my jade set, and I was able to start farming T6 immediately, which was really cool. At hour 20 mark, being able to do that was great. So that's what you really want to focus on. You want to focus on what items do I still need that are reasonable. Now, I'm not going to tell you to gamble for SMK, Tasker and Theo, or Renho Flailer, or Witching Hour, because those have really low drop rates. But, hey, you can go, looking for a Durang, go looking for a Grim Reaper, or go looking for a Ukapin Serpent. Oh, maybe I need to get a Zunimasa chest. Whatever to round out your build and make it more efficient. Or if you're close to something, like if you're 2 out of 3, if you're like 3 out of 4 pieces for Zunimasa, or really all you need is 3 pieces. You know what I'm saying? If you're close to that, then you gamble and go for the Zunimasa piece. If you notice that, like, how do you say, what's another good set I could say that drops? I mean, even if you're using Helltooth, let's say you got 3 pieces of Helltooth. You just need 1 more. You need 1 more piece. You might want to target Helltooth. Helltooth is a pretty decent set that's pretty tanky that can get you to T6 too. It's just identifying what you have and then what you need to gamble for. It might be an offhand. It might be, oh well, I'm going a 2-handed Locust Horn build with Haunt, and you know what? I got Bane of the Trap, but I need something to trigger that Bane of the Trap until I get a level 25. Let me get a Hodgel Wrap, because the Hodgel Wrap will make it so my Locust Horn adds, when I cast it, it's going to slow down everybody. It's going to slow down all the enemies on the screen, which is going to trigger my Bane of the Trap. So at that point, you'd be like, you know what, let me gamble for a Hodgel Wrap, because getting a Hodgel Wrap is not that bad. So just basically identifying and getting the most out of your blood shards on when you should be gambling is what you need to do. Let me see here. So outside of that, then pretty much it's upgrading legendary gems. I'd advise to grade the gems 1 level at a time. Because, okay, the reason is because when you're first starting off, let's say you got all your gems. You got your 3 gems you want to upgrade, right? And you finish at, let's say you're going to finish at level 15. Well, you do 1 run, you finish at level 15, you get 3 upgrades on 1 gem, so now it's level 3. Then you do another run, and then you get it to 4, 5, you get to level 5, and then upon getting it to level 5, when you're going from 5 to 6, I do believe, if I'm not incorrect. No. The first time you do the Greater Rift, you'll get 3 upgrades on 1 gem. Then the second time you do it, it'll put you up to 6. And I do believe upgrading from level 5 to level 6, when your highest Greater Rift is 15, will allow you to get it to 6, 100% of the chance. But once it hits level 6, and you're only still, you may not have enough gear to progress higher than 15. You may not. So the reason why I tell you to upgrade one gym at a time, because when you get these Greater Rift tokens early on in the seasons or your new character, they don't drop easily. Once you get to T6, it's pretty much a guaranteed thing. But when you do your third run, your gym is at level 6, you finish at level 15. Now, you don't have 100% anymore. Now it's at 90, then it's 80, then 70, and it starts dropping down to 60 until you match up to 15. And those are chances that you're not going to be able to upgrade an item. But think about it this way. If you were to upgrade the gyms one level at a time per each run, and you're just doing level 15, whatever, very casually, right? That means when you level up the gyms for the first time on the first run, all the gyms are going to be level 1. And then when you do it again, all the gyms are going to be level 2 when you get on your second Greater Rift run. Then all the gyms are going to be level 3, then level 4, and they all start leveling accumulatively up together. And usually 9 times out of 10, by the time you get to the point where your gyms are going to start being less than 100% and less than 90 and 80% success rate, you're probably going to be progressing upwards to higher rifts too. So like for instance, when I was doing it that way, by the time all my 3 gyms I was upgrading reached level 6, I was able to do level 18, level 19, level 20, and I was keeping that 100% leveling. I was keeping that 100% going all the way. And then eventually, when I look back, when all the gyms were hitting like, you know, level 18, 19, and 20, I was already doing like level 27 and 28 and stuff like that. So that's one way you could do it. Realistically, if you want to just keep upgrading one gym, that's the way you want to do it. But that's what I would recommend. Let me see here. And then also determine whether or not you need a Ring of Royal Grandeur. If you happen to get lucky in your first couple hours and you start getting Zunimasa or you stop getting Jade Set, then you definitely want to go for that. Just running Act 1 bounties, you'll be able to get one easily. That's not too hard at all since Blizzard buffed the rate of that. Phase 3, crafting high-level gems. Once you get in Phase 3 and you get towards the end, especially around hour 20, 21, you notice that you probably have most of your gear settled out. Everything's looking pretty good, and you have the stockpile of money and gems. What you should do? Well, just go ahead and craft your gems to the highest level. If you're using the Boon of the Hoarder, you should have plenty of gold, or just basically if you've just been doing, you know, Torment level 3 or higher content, you should have tons of gold in your inventory. And then you should be able to easily start upgrading your gems, because, I mean, upgrading your gems up to the max level, like, you know, the Royal or Flawless level is very important, and it provides a lot more DPS, a lot more survivability, since it gives us all resistance, and something you need to do anyway. So that's definitely what you want to do once you get to that point. The next things that I'm really cool about to show you is these are the test session and results for my 24-hour Witch Doctors. We'll go ahead and pull this up. We got a first one here. This was the very first one. I do believe this is on EU. I got very lucky on this attempt. I don't know if this was 24 hours, though. I could be a little bit wrong. I don't think this was 24 hours. Yo, you know what? This was my first test session. I don't think this was at 24 hours. I think this is like halfway at 16-hour mark, but I was pretty happy because I got the Slump on Waiters, I got a Rinho Flailer, I had a Jerome, and I had an Homunculus. My critical chance is 45.9%, 368% critical damage, 685, so K damage. So I probably wasn't due T3 yet in this picture. 5.2 million toughness. Let's go ahead and look at the, let me see, second season end results. That was the first one. Oh, you know what? Let me see there. You know what? That possibly could have been the first season. Let me take a look here. I do think that was the first season. Second season, let me see here. What about my third one? My third one was a two-handed weapon. And then let me just look real quick. I swear one of them got a Tasker and Theo, but maybe I just missed a screenshot. I could have just simply missed a screenshot. We'll see. Huh. Well, we're not going to worry about too much of that right now. But on the first test in results, I was able to do pretty okay. But like I said, this was like the first couple of tests of me getting situated. Could have went a lot better, but I was happy I got the drum, I got the Rental Flailer, and continue onward. I would have been able to do probably maybe at the end result, I think I was able to do like T4, T5. But I was just recently starting to test things out, and things kind of went kind of because when you start first testing something, you don't really have nothing to base off of what your previous results were. Now, this one is the test session 2 results, and this one's a little bit better. I do believe, you know what it was? I think this might have been the second one, if I'm not incorrect. Well, we'll see. Anyways, I was able to get a Red Home Flailer. I got the Homunculus again. This time, instead of Jerome, I actually ended up getting a Grim Reaper, which was actually okay. And I was able to get my damage to 699k DPS, 4.3 million toughness, 82 Paragon, and then level 70. This was okay. Still could have been improved a little bit better, but like I said, I really just got used to it. That was the second run through, so I did have an improved amount of results than the first session. Here goes the second test screen of what happened. Oh, this just basically shows everything more in detail. So on this one, actually went a little bit better. As you notice, I was able to get my critical chance up to 58%, 314% critical damage. I was doing okay. Wasn't the most perfect situation, but I had my Grim Reaper, I had my Reno Flare, I had my Homunculus for extra damage, and I think I had a couple pieces like my Ogdos and stuff like that to get me going. Now this is where things start to dramatically change. Test session 3. Now test session 3, you can see I'm at 812k DPS, 4.8 million toughness, and I'm going the two-handed build. You can see I have a Quetzalcoatl on my helmet, and I'm going the two-handed Locust Swarm Haunt build, and I actually have my pets just for tanking. And when I actually went this build, it was actually able to get a lot higher amount of DPS, get a lot more stuff done. Got the Paragon level 108 because I got the Quetzalcoatl, I got the 3-piece Ogdos on it, and I also got the Swampland Waders, and it just worked out really good with the Scourge. So that's when I started noticing that, you know what, the two-handed build with the Locust Swarm and Haunt is probably the way to go when you're progressing a new Witch Doctor, because you can get a lot of stuff done. This was test session 4, by far the best. I don't know what happened, all the stars aligned, but I actually ended up getting the Wormwood, which is going to be a new 200 legendary in Seasons. I got 755k damage, 5.1 million toughness. I was actually able to run Jade build, which was pretty incredible. And once I did that, I was able to start doing Torment level 6. And as you can see, I got to Paragon level 114. And the cool thing about this is, like I said again, it's just I was able to do T6 no problem. Let me see here. Yeah, I ended up having 40.3 critical chance, 346 critical damage, but I had 28% to haunt damage, 42% to damage increase. I had a little bit of cooldown reduction, but as you can see, my gems are pretty solid. I had this strong arm bracers. Everything started formulating pretty good. The DPS was good, the toughness was good, and I was overall pretty happy about that. I was running the content very easily, and I had plenty amount of gold to get my character started. So towards the end, what my conclusion was is just it's better to go a two-handed Locust Swarm Haunt build. Especially since they're changing the one of the runes for Haunt to Poison Spirit, which is a really strong ability, and plus with the addition of Wormwood in Season 2, if you guys are wondering what Wormwood is, I actually have a whole set of guides about that in my YouTube channel about Wormwood, all the different things you can do with it, and it's a really solid weapon to have. So, the way I was able to start taking my Witch Doctor, initially being so-so, and actually turning it into something that I was actually able to do that was really full functional and actually getting a lot of stuff done in a short amount of time is just because when I kept doing these runs over and over again, I started identifying what I was doing wrong, what's good. Okay, pet build seems pretty decent, but you know what, this build might seem like a little bit better. And then after I was able to do that and start making those conclusions and just locking everything down, it came to a point when I just sat there and I realized that, oh, hey, you know what, if I actually take the time, sorry guys, I'll see if I can find the other screenshot. I guess I just lost a couple screenshots, but what I really realized is that the most efficient way for a Witch Doctor to gear up and get stuff done is by going the two-handed Locust Swarm Haunt build. You don't have to worry about a certain piece of gear. All you need is just good rolls on your gear and just a good two-handed weapon, and that will be able to carry you to T6 or do well for yourself. One nice thing I also noticed is that for the most part in every single test session, I was able to get an Ogdos and a Cane set every single time within the 24 hours played. So that's something you can expect and also look forward to using when you start gearing up your Witch Doctors and progressing stuff. So at first it was kind of shaky because I was going more towards the pet kind of builds, but towards the end I just said, you know what, the two-hander is the way to go, and I've been getting a lot of stuff done and it's been working really well. So even in future seasons, I think when I'm getting a Witch Doctor to T6 quickly, hopefully within the first 24 hours of the next season, I'll probably be going for some type of two-handed Locust Swarm Haunt build as well too. Outside of all that, hope you guys enjoyed the guide. It was a lengthy process because I had to try 4 different Witch Doctors and I had to time myself and test out each different phase. Some people might say like, well, this is not the most efficient way to get stuff done. I'm just like, well, you know what, I would say this, you know, there's probably little things I could do to make it more and more efficient. I really just wanted to make this guide so that people who are wondering about what to do as a Witch Doctor or what skills to take or how to approach it or a system that can prove to get stuff done within 24 hours of game time, it's here. It's here for new people. It's here for old people. It's here for anybody who's wanted to play the Witch Doctor class or get into the class or just see what's going on. Because like when I played other classes, one of the most frustrating things is like when I was playing Crusaders, like I'm trying to figure out like what are some good non traditional builds, like because when you first start off a new character, you're not going to have, like, I didn't have the whole Akon set. I didn't have the whole Roland set. I didn't have the cooldown reduction to do all the cool stuff. I needed to know what was the most efficient build for me to do based upon the gear that I had. What items can basically make things dramatically different for me. Then I started learning my Crusader just through trial and error, just through playing out the class, and I started learning like, oh, okay, well, you know, Condemn's really good, especially when you get the Blade of the Prophecy. You need, there's certain items that a Crusader gets where you're just like, oh, well, if you get this, you automatically could start doing this. Like, and I had no one to really tell me that. But as I keep playing the Crusader and I start learning, you know, day by day, I'm starting to learn like, okay, this is a good thing to do if you're leveling. This is a good thing to do if you're new Crusader. And it was just, like I said, it was a frustrating process for me. So I said, at least if I make this guide, I can lay stuff out for people. If they want to seek the information, they can look into it. And if they follow the structure, the worst case scenario is if you follow exactly what I do, within 24 hours, you'll be doing T5, T6. That's the worst thing that can happen. Now, if you got friends who can power level you, if you know certain, you know, clever use of game mechanics, and you want to do something different that gets you levels faster or progresses you quickly another way, hey, by all means do it. Play the game however you want. But at least now, if somebody just wants to see something structured or they don't want to exploit, or maybe they play solo, maybe the friends are sleeping when they get home, they can follow this guide and get to the next level. But as always, I got new feature guides coming out soon. If you guys look at the end of the section, I have all my detailed listings of everything and in detail. And basically, if you want the too long didn't read, like I said, just head to the beginning area where it's basically the itinerary list. And the itinerary list breaks everything down in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 very short. It's very short. You can just print it out and just check off everything as you go. And but if you want more in-depth information, that's why I had an itinerary list that tells you exactly what to do, and then I broke down each individual phase in depth with its own recap video so you guys can digest things slowly at a certain rate, and then by the time you get to the third phase video, you guys know what's going on. But anyways, I had enough rambling, and we got this video actually clocked in at 26 minutes, so I guess I talked a little bit too much. I will see you guys in the next guide. Good luck in Season 2. I'm looking forward to playing that tomorrow. Or actually not tomorrow, the new patch with the ancient and legendary items. And then once I get all the stuff figured out for ancient legendary items, I'll put out some more guides and more helpful stuff so you guys know what's going on and what the legendary items are good and what to not focus on and what to get. But as always, man, I appreciate you guys watching my videos out there in YouTube land, and I'm Debo and I'm out. Hey guys, if you appreciate the video you just watched, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure you check me out at twitch.tv spsdebo, and then if you'd like to support my future endeavors, just check me down at patreon.com/debo. Thank you for your time, and check you guys later.